It smells good in here. I did a little bit of a smoke. Nothing in here. We just smoked to kind of season it out with the smoke and cure it out a little bit. And I even went back and kind of pressure washed it after that, and it still smells good in here. Which we're going to be doing another smoke here in a few days to get seasoned up and do some salt cure on the table. We got a salt cure table in here, but when one of the reasons we built this smokehouse, we built it for preservation, not for the smoking and cooking like a lot of the smokehouses are today. This one, we patterned it, and our purpose of building it is for smoke, salt cure, and smoke preservation. We want to get back into the old ways of doing things, like something that's dying out. We want to get back into that. But whenever I was doing some research, there wasn't a whole lot of information that I could find on the old coal smoke smokehouses. But there was a gentleman up in Kentucky, and I ran across the video where somebody had interviewed him, and he was talking about his smokehouse that he was using. And this video was 13 years ago, was when this interview happened, and he was in his mid-90s then. So, and the smokehouse that he was using was his grandfather's smokehouse. So he was talking a little bit about his smokehouse and some of the things when you're looking to build a smokehouse, some of the things you want to do, you don't do, that kind of thing. So I went back and saved that video and took notes off of it, and would go back occasionally when I was building this and watch it again. So we kind of patterned hours off of him. Other than his was made out of logs, and we did not do the logs. Other than that, we pretty well, I kind of took notes. So so let's do a little tour in here and kind of show you what we've got. That sun is nice today, but trying to do a video, it is not so nice today. Can't hardly get out of the sun. Let me show you first off. You can see we've got block down there and got the wood on the block. You want a base, especially if you're going to be doing this for preservation, where you're going to be hanging your meat in here to salt cure, using this as a salt cure room, hanging room, you know, your smoke. And then after you smoke, especially during the winter time, late fall, winter, you'll be hanging some of your meat in here and letting it, using this kind of as your meat house also. One thing you want is you don't want any way for any critter to be able to get into your smokehouse. So one of the first things he was saying was you want to make sure you put block, which he would use the field stone, but we use the blocks to make sure we are solid around. It'd be hard for anything to get in. Using the rough cut sawmill lumber, you can see the saw marks here. He used logs, but use local sourced, if possible, lumber, and which means logs if you have them. We did not. And the rough cut lumber, which the rough cut lumber is kind of what I wanted anyway, because I wanted the old, go ahead and look at this, I wanted the old smokehouse look. I didn't want the new lumber look, I wanted the old smokehouse, the gray seasoned kind of wood. So we did the rough cut lumber. And for us, my thought is the rough cut sawmill lumber, you got less chances of having it full of chemicals and a lot of the other stuff that wood is treated with nowadays too. And we needed 4x4 post or something for your corners. You do not want to use pressure treated, and it's kind of hard to find. Without using logs, it's kind of hard to find anything that's not pressure treated in that kind of wood. So we went with sawmill and got our corners, everything we needed through there. And also, whenever you use the rough cut, the sawmill, whenever you put it together pretty, tight like you normally do when you are building. And then whenever it seasons out, it leaves you with these little gaps right here on all your wood, which is about right, because you want some air flowing through here, a little bit of air flowing through here, and that will help pull your smoke and help your smoke draft through and pull through. And it just helps a whole lot having that little bit of air. Okay, the floor. You've noticed here we just went with the dirt floor. We did not pour concrete in the floor. Eventually, we'll probably go back and put in pea gravel or something. And one thing that I did not think about at one point that this guy was saying that I wouldn't have thought about it. Makes sense. But if you're going to be salt curing your meat, the salt pulls out all your moisture and your juices. If you've ever salt cured anything, put it in the refrigerator, you end up having to dump the water out of the pan that you use every day. So you got all that moisture the salt's pulling out, and that moisture has to go somewhere. So if you've got your salt curing on the salt cure table, or you got some stuff up here in the rack, or you're hanging stuff up here and you're letting it hang and salt cure while hanging, everything that drips out of that meat ends up there. So if you got a concrete floor in here, you've got one more mess. So that's why we have the dirt floor, and like I said, eventually probably we'll go to pea gravel. We have a salt box, which is probably will not be in here. I'll probably have it somewhere else, because there are things like your ham hocks, your salt pork. There's some things like that would have to go in your box. I pressure washed it out. I need to salt cure it and then pressure wash it again, and then salt cure it again. Probably will be ready by then. But so we got the salt box. And now salt cure table, you can do salt cure and then bring it into Smokehouse if you want. Again, I wanted to go to the old preservation style and just go back to the way they did things way back in the day. So we put our salt cure table right in the Smokehouse. Now, this is not pine. This is hardwood. This is actually poplar. Poplar or oak is kind of what you want. You can do hickory if you want, but hickory's not as easy to find. I did find the hickory 4x4s, and I got 2 of those for the table legs there. But you want the hardwood. And then I needed a piece to put across the back just to kind of help so the meat don't fall off the back or whatever. But just to put across, and we found an old beam out of a barn. And you can see there where it was notched for something. And we cleaned it up and put it in here. want to give it just something, just like a really old something in here, get that old feel. And we did the wire shelving, something I had on hand, so we used it to be able to put stuff on it if we need to do chickens or anything. I can actually, put those on there, and I put one way up towards the top too. But that way it will allow anything to drip out that needs to during the smoke curing process. And we do have our bar here for hanging our meat. Got the hooks there. I still have to get my bacon hooks. I don't have those yet. But we got those hooks that hang up on here. And I'll show you a couple of those here. So we have those to hang our meat on. And okay, and I built this. I used the chains and the hooks. So I can take this completely out of here if I need to, but I've got it where I can drop it down to the side. And I think I will probably put another hook in here somewhere where I can hook that and keep it over out of the way and keep it from doing that. Something I just noticed today when I was out here that's probably needed. That's one thing I was doing out here today, is kind of going over everything, seeing if there's anything I missed, anything needs to be done, and I've already discovered that. So you need to run your smoke pipe out as close to the bottom as possible. That is something that's kind of tricky to do a little bit every now and then. If you're on flat, we're on flat ground out here, pretty much with the smokehouse, and we've got just a little bit of a hill, not really much of a hill at all, and out to the firebox. So we went down as far as we could with the firebox and run the pipe straight in. So we're not bad. We're about 4 bars, about 4 boards up from the bottom. So that does good. That keeps our smoke. Actually, whenever I had a smoke in here the other day, my smoke was just above the box right there, real thick. And then actually down here on the ground, it was swirling around. I mean, the whole place was smoked, but probably just below knee high up was real thick smoke. So it was well below that table, which that table is our lowest point that we will have anything smoking anyway. So that works great for us. Another thing that you want some type of a way of checking the temperature in the smokehouse. You want to be, they say over 100 degrees is fine, but I know this guy was watching the video, he was saying you want to try to be under 100 degrees with your heat, because you just want to smoke it to preserve it. You don't want to cook it. So one thing that we have done, I have the gauge, that is a new gauge for a smoker, and come in here and show you this. It has the probe that sticks out here on the inside. So that works really well. When I was doing the smoke a few days ago, just to cure this out a little bit, it was, I believe it was 67 degrees outside, and I'd only been probably 30 minutes of smoke, and I was at just a little bit above 80 degrees, and it being 67 degrees outside. So it gets down in the low 40s and in the 30s where you want to be at when you're smoking, preferably. I don't think we're going to have a problem with heat that much. And like I said, if you're going to smoke to where you want to do your, cook it and smoke it, and not for preservation. You want to get that heat up higher, but for preservation, you don't want the heat, you just want the smoke. And so I cut, our Firebox had a piece of well casing that come up pretty high. And you saw in the video the other day we did where we cut that well casing down, give just enough lip to put the pipe on. And I put the well casing up here and put it into the smokehouse, give something to have the pipe to go in. And like I said, you're not getting the heat, you're just getting the smoke. And our Firebox needs to be at least 10 feet from your smokehouse. It gives that heat time to kind of die out before it gets in the smokehouse. You still got a ton of smoke, very little heat. What I did also, I added a damper on here. So if I start getting a little bit of heat more than I want, I can turn that off, keep the heat back here in the Firebox, let the smoke through, and kind of control my heat a little bit through that way. But like I said, it was in the upper 60s the other day, and I got it still stayed below 90 inside, so I think we're good on that. And I said we buried our Firebox 11 inches and set it on blocks and cover it back in with dirt around it. I still have see the door on that thing's close to the ground, but that's as low as we could get it. And still puts it down, pretty close to the bottom. Still got a lot of heat up there, so that's what you want on that. And yeah, that Firebox is huge for what we want to do, but it works great though. Works really good. But yeah, we've got the herb, the beds around the smokehouse. You see how it dies out in the winter time, in the fall, so no danger of using the smokehouse and killing everything out. Like I say, there's really no heat anyway. And then summertime, you're not using the smokehouse. You've got all your herbs around it, and then you've got that rod and those racks there to put your herbs on whenever you harvest them. You got a place for them to dry out in the summertime. So it's kind of a dual purpose little building here. And the frame for that door, you can tell it's really rough cut, but that again is hickory. It was green, somewhat green whenever we got it, and so I was still able to put screws through it, but it was hard to get them in, but they went. And then right now you probably couldn't put a nail or a screw through that right now. But all the wood for the door is also oak and hickory. You don't have to use that, but I figure hickory is what you want to use to smoke. I like that flavor, that smell, so why not incorporate it in there? And then whenever you're smoking, it's going to get that's going to get into your smoke, which is another reason you don't want to use pressure treated lumber. Is that smoke is going to go through everything and then go in and through your meat. So if you're using pressure treated or lumber that has had chemicals and stuff in it, you probably do not want that going through that and into your meat. All right, the roof. Used the metal roofing. Notice I did not put plywood. I've seen some where they do the plywood and then they will do shingles, or they'll do plywood and a metal roof, and they'll put a another chimney or something up in one of the corners for the smoke to go out. you want to do that. That is something, it's good to have all this tightened up tight and use something like that if you're trying to hot smoke. But if you're smoking for preservation, you want, like I said, you want these holes in there to help draw some of that smoke out. And with it being just the metal, you can see these ridges here. Where those ridges are at is where your smoke comes out. So it helps hold the smoke in, but it's got, you know, a place for that. And we also cut notches in 2 spots on the back. And then up here on the front, we did the same thing. 2 spots, plus you've got the ridges there. So, and then of course some of your smoke comes out right here on the side, but mostly it comes out there. Gives it a good spot for it to come out, but it also don't let enough out to where all your smoke's going away. I said it stays thick in here, and I'll show you that, you guys, that soon. This here in the next few days, like I said, I'm gonna salt cure. I salt cured this table once, but then pressure washed everything because it set after I salt cured it. This door on this thing hadn't been opened in probably over a year. Probably mid to end of December to January, somewhere in there. I ain't sure of an exact date yet, but we will be using the smokehouse for one of our pigs, and doing our first salt cure and our first smoking. So the salt curing is something that is making a comeback. People's learning for the charcuterie boards and all this, all that kind of stuff. People's relearning how to do a lot of that stuff, but the salt curing for preservation, for use for long term, and also the smoke preservation smoking, not smoking to cook, but smoking to preserve. That is an art that is, and I say art because it's something it has to be learned. It's not something you can just throw stuff together. Okay, we got, you have to find and dig and research and learn. And it is an art that is dying out. It has almost died out completely with the older people, especially up in the Appalachians up here. There's not that many people anymore that knows how to do any of this, and so we want to learn how to do it. I'm going to try to find some people that knows how to do this, and kind of hopefully do some interviews with some of them so that we can all share and kind of learn how to do some of this stuff again. And like I said, if it wasn't for somebody interviewing this guy in Kentucky, up in the mountains of Kentucky 13 years ago, I wouldn't even know really where to even start on this smokehouse. But since they did, I was able to incorporate that. So it's important that knowledge gets passed down. So so that's kind of what we're going to try to do too, is when we learn something, we're going to try it. If it works, we'll see, and bring you guys along and share what we have learned. And like I said, I'm trying to do some questions and stuff with some of the people I find, and if they will allow me to, and we can all learn and grow together. I believe this preservation is a really important part of our lives that we should be learning and passing down. So thank you guys for watching, and here in a few days, like I said, we'll be salt curing, and we'll be doing a video and bring you guys all along for that. Thank you for watching, and God bless.